Yo. Sorry, I don't know what happened. It was gone for a second. Montoya is coming for us. Yeah, he ringed the ADL. All right, shall I start or shall we wait a little bit? Maybe. Oh. Did something happen? I don't know. Sometimes the internet disappears for a minute or two for no reason. Yo, Moha.
I'm more than casual because I go to tournaments, I try my best. But look, I know I'm trash at the game. I know I'm trash because I get to compare myself to when I used to play 8 to 12 hours. When I compare myself there, I go, oh God, Jason,
we will
like you're horrible. You're trash at the game. So I get I'm trash at the game.
Who plays 8 to 12 hours a day?
However, if we can keep this not about me and more about what you're saying on her moves and her additions.
No, he means he only plays 2 hours a day now, and before he played 8 to 12. Bro, not even pros need to play 12 hours. I swear you don't need to. That's so unhealthy. 12 hours? Okay, I used to do it occasionally on a weekend, 10 hours on stream, but I made shit ton of money. It was like work. When you don't, like, it's weird. I don't know.
Yeah. Because again, you attack me from the angle. Well, you don't even know the exact plus frames.
But you,
okay, bro, is it about me again? All right, let's talk about the game. Okay, I'm trying to keep this.
I talk about the game.
Yeah, and I'm trying to get to the point. Okay,
but this is my point.
I have to illustrate that you're still coming in on a strange kind of adjacent ad hominem attack.
Okay? Hey, Jason, you make this impossible for me.
So Asuka, it's okay that she received these moves, and here's why. Okay, because in Tekken 7, Tekken 5, Tekken 4, Tekken 3, Tekken, she was in 3 if I remember right. But all those, was she? I don't even remember anymore.
It is literally going to take years at this pace.
Asuka started in 5.
Okay, so through all those games that she was in, she was really not one
Jason.
that the elite players would take to win tournaments. Like if you were playing for $1 million, it was pretty rare that any player would say like, "Oh, you got to take Asuka." Like Asuka's the one, okay? And the reason it's okay they give them these new moves is because evolution is not bad.
But what new move?
I understand that this has impacted her defensive character type and that she's maybe not as defensive as she used to be. But the argument against that, the other side of the coin is, well,
how long is the podcast? Actually, today only 3 hours instead of 9 or 12.
Then is she forced to be stuck in B tier status forever? Like
no,
that's
Jason,
kind of unfair to the character.
That's not my point. That's not my point. My point is you said it is okay that they gave her these moves. What does the move do? Please explain to me exactly. What does these 2 moves, what do they do?
They're more offensive. She's more offensive.
I want the properties. I just want the basic properties of them.
Look, when I get hit by them, I don't attack. Again, you're attacking my personal knowledge on the game. I keep addressing this.
Yeah, but
it's not so much about me. Like that plays a part, but obviously you should know and see that I know enough about it to speak to it, at least a little bit. I mean,
Jason,
you don't even have to agree with it. You don't have
Jason,
to be like,
you look. I take you serious. I take you serious because I take you serious. You told me. I listened to every single one of your video, and you told me that you won tournaments, national tournaments in Tekken 4, 5, and Tag 1. So
I never said national tournaments. No,
you said multiple tournaments with more than 100 people.
Yes, I have. So we annexed Tokyo.
So if you did that,
but that's a regional, bro. That's not. That's not a national.
It's fine. I just say you should know how important it is to judge the state and the balance and the framework of a game. That you need to know with what tools we are working here. So please, if you don't know, just say
enough. I mean, if you would give me some charity, you would realize I know enough, and I'm speaking to it enough.
Okay. So you said
sorry.
Okay.
Can you?
No, it's fine. look,
what
okay,
Brian's
it's fine.
back on 3 is. Okay, wait, real
It's-
quick. Back 4. What? Back
It's fine.
8, back 9. And if you
This
do,
is-
good for you, bro. You studied.
Okay,
Proud of
no,
you.
it's not about that I studied, because literally you tweet so much and you still play the game. You have more games on Hwoarang in ranked, and you possibly have another, maybe a K on quick match, right? That you cannot give me the excuse of, I don't have the time. You look, it's fine if you don't know. It's perfectly fine. I don't use this as an attack against
But
you.
I
and
do
don't-
know to a degree. See, you want it one way or the other, bro. It's cut like most things in life.
Look, wait.
there's
I wasn't
levels
done.
to
Wait,
this.
I wasn't done.
Okay,
Wait,
go ahead.
I wasn't done.
Okay.
Look, to me, it would. Okay, let me phrase this differently. It would, to me, be fine if you just say you don't know. And honestly, I don't care about your.
But I
rank and
can't
shit.
say that, Finn.
Look, I wasn't.
can't say I don't know, 'cause I
Jason,
know
let
a
him-
little.
let him
I
finish.
wasn't done
Jason, let him
because
Okay, you're
look,
right.
you
I
said
apologize.
the move is plus on block, like maybe +4, maybe something. This move is +11 on block in heat. +11, Jason. Do you think it is good to have a mid that is a launcher in heat being +2 on block, and to have a running 1+2 that is a high that goes from +4 to +11 on block and also launches on normal hit? Do you think this is fine? This is just my question.
Okay, so
why?
there are some moves that give me +13.
Yo, Exist, are you here? Can you ban this Jude? Ramses is Jude. He's annoying.
On block, and it's a
Do you think
poke.
this move is fine?
It's a poke. So let me give you an example. Hwoarang's while standing 3, it's +13. Guess what I get? I get a free heat engager that in addition gives me a +9. Okay. So whether it's good or bad, you can laser focus on one move, and this is what you guys always do.
What is your while standing?
move? Will you ask me for an answer? I'm trying to.
What is your while standing free from Hwoarang
do you
on
want me
block?
to answer?
Finn, hold on. Let Jason answer the way he wants, and then if you don't like the answer, push back on it when he finishes. Go on.
Okay,
Jason.
so I get +13 there. I go in the heat. I'm +9. Look, people laser focus on these moves. If you look at just that Hwoarang move or the Asuka move, and you go, yeah, that's +13. Hell, Hwoarang has a 10 hit frame counter hit launcher in heat, right? I mean, these moves are overpowered in heat because that's heat. But if you take them in context and you don't look at just the move, you go, well, all characters have heat. All characters have really strong shit in heat. All characters can heat engage or heat burst to stop the momentum. All characters can, duck this move or block or whatever. Then it starts building some holistic nuance there. But if you just focus on, yeah, +11, yeah, fuck that. What about like the whole other kit she has, or the whole other kit that the
and that is
opponent
exactly
playing with, and you go, well, I'm not going to think about that. I'm just going to laser focus on this one move.
okay. So you didn't give me an answer. Well, you basically did. You said this is fine, but you said not really why. You just said because holistically people shit is strong. You then immediately used Hwoarang's while standing free. I don't know why. Because would you remind me, Jason, what is Hwoarang's while standing free on block now?
I don't remember what it is. It's safe. So
No, it's not anymore.
Oh, is it not anymore? Okay, yeah. So I would find that out in online player tournament play.
Find that out.
But what I would say to that is, it's not a heat move, right? I mean, hers is obviously a heat move, so there's a differentiator already there. And again, I'm not saying that moves don't need tuning. Like, you've heard me say this, and I say it all the time. Yes, the game needs continual updates and balances. And if this seems to be one of those outlier tools that are so egregious, then it should use some tuning. But this is what I'd say to that too. You shouldn't tune a move so much that it ruins the fun for another person.
That is not what I'm saying. I agree with you. I agree with you.
Okay.
I agree with you.
Awesome. I love that. See, that's more the discussion I want, is us to have this and find these common areas to talk about. And that's what I really appreciate. So that's pretty cool that we discovered that.
There is one thing that they agreed on, and he is trying to signal to this guy, hey, this is what I need. Please give me more.
So I would to say to Asuka's move also is if it's too powerful, needs tuning. But also, if all these new moves were so egregious, now I'm going to expand this conversation a little bit. If all these new moves were so egregious, then we'd see massive tier shifts in all the characters. But arguably, we've only seen Asuka and Lars. So maybe their tunes were a little too much and need to be looked at. But
there's only two things. Either Montoya is doing an amazing job or Finn is doing a very shitty job. Because even though he's full of shit and he's talking shit and he's not right, he looks right and Finn not. I don't know why. I think Finn does a bad job, to be honest.
Overall, the vast majority of the update I feel was great because everybody got access to new tools. And you come to a restaurant, I've said this before, you come to a restaurant for good food. You don't come to a restaurant because it's not fun to use, it's bland, it tastes like oatmeal.
I agree. Would you say that this is still like fine? Or would you say this needs maybe a bit of tuning? Like just this Asuka thing, does that need a bit of tuning?
So I would like to get into a discussion like how they identify what needs to be tuned, because
not your opinion. It's your
my opinion.
It's just your opinion.
Okay, I have two opinions on this. One is it probably needs tuning because of this reason, because it's a PR nerf. You know what a public relations nerf as opposed to like a truly needed broken nerf is? Do you know, Finn?
Sorry, what a broken move is?
Oh, well, no, what a PR nerf is as opposed to nerfing a broken move or an overtuned move. So I'll give you an example. No. So a public relations.
He just made that up on the spot. Of course, you can imagine what a PR nerf is, but he made that term up.
Nerf is kind of like what Sentinel had in Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Or like, I can't remember the character's name in Soul Calibur with the spear and the sword.
Just say nerf it because it's broken. No, what he means with PR nerf is that you nerf something because the outcry is so big, and that if you nerf it, then it would be good for the PR of the game, even though it wasn't needed.
So these characters were beatable in their games, right? But you had to be good. But it was so detrimental to like the community psyche, and people just couldn't get around it. Like your normal everyday casual couldn't address it, but good players were getting around it all day long. But because of that, Capcom was like, yo, we got to nerf this. And it's more for public relations and the optics and the feel of the community than it is that the move is actually overtuned. So I feel like her nerf might be more of a PR nerf need than it is a mechanical need. And what I mean by that is because she is doing better in tournaments, but I think that's okay. Like, I think the meta would be pretty boring if we just had characters permanently stuck in B tier status, and you go,
I accept that answer. I accept that answer. Could you describe Brian's QCB one to me, and tell me if that's fine? Because this is the actual reason why people are kind of fucked. This is the reason why people are kind of mad.
Forward punch plus, I know it's pretty big plus, right? Plus 7, plus 5. What is it? You tell me.
Yeah, it's plus 5. It's plus 5.
Okay.
30 frames plus 5.
Brian's neutral is so out of control, bro. It's so.
So you would agree this needs nerfing?
Yeah, tuning, but I'm not sure how much. Like, again, we're looking at this one move. We need to take it in the context. Like, is Brian overperforming in tournaments? You know, he might be. You know,
tournaments is one thing. You know, Ty. Do you know Ty? He's a Brian main. And before the game even came out, he said, "This piece of shit. What is that doing on my character?" Now, there was already some feedback for Namco Bandai, by the way, which they didn't acknowledge. So even Brian players are looking at this and thinking this is a perversion, an affront aiguë, this move. So he says this shit could be neutral on block. Would you say this is fine?
Well,
it's still a counted launcher.
I mean, I don't laser focus on that move. I take a holistic.
But we need to.
And the reason I don't, well, here's the reason why, buddy.
I swear to God, this guy makes me hate the word holistic. I fuck you and holistic, man. How can you abuse the word like that?
Because I can look at every character and they all have overtune moves. Could we say, do you think that's a fair statement?
Wait a
Do
minute,
think
didn't you
that's
just say... Didn't...
Wait,
I thought you
I'm
said
asking you a
the...
question. Do you think it's a fair statement to say all the characters have access to powerful tools?
To powerful tools, yes. But they did
Okay.
also in other games. That's not really the
Right.
problem.
Right. Okay. Well, my view is since all characters have access to powerful tools, that unless we're seeing a real outlier, and I'll give you an example, like Leroy, day one Leroy. Come on, right? We can all
Wait, you
agree
think...
that was way over
Well,
two.
there are also... look... I just try to, because you say this shit is great and this shit plays great, and there are reasons why people think it might not that well. For example,
and those are legitimate feedback to give. I just ask that it doesn't get to dooming and hyperbolic, where it's like casino game, it's a party game. It's
look,
not.
but you know
it's
that
not,
people say
and I go,
that,
no, this game is worthy of playing. It's worthy of having a community and an inviting community where we're somewhat polite to each other, and a community that people would want to come be a part of.
Look, I just try to tell you exactly the reasons why people get so hyperbolic, because it's not that they are stupid. They know that the game is obviously not a literal casino. Bro, I couldn't agree with you more on this. Otherwise, as you say, Arslan Ash wouldn't be the back-to-back EVO champion and Ulsan wouldn't be the back-to-back EWC champion. But there are reasons you are obviously right. But
yeah, he plays
Jason,
the game.
There are big fucking reasons, and quite a lot of them, why people say this game is obnoxious as fuck, and quite a few situations.
He has a good point, Novasek. And how can you have a holistic view on something if you don't know the micro view? Like, holistic means macro, but you need to have enough knowledge to back your opinion. He has an opinion based on nothing.
In this game are cancerous as hell, and this is dog shit, and this needs to change.
Well, see, I think that hyperbolic language, like saying it's dog shit.
I mean, that is not hyperbolic. That is not hyperbolic. I'm sorry. That is objective.
Okay, I disagree. I think it's subjective because you see it that way. Some other people don't. So I think just by definition it's subjective. But I would say to that that hyperbolic language makes for not an inviting game, not an inviting atmosphere for the community. And being a person that actually built a local community and even a regional community with a national presence here and there, the zeitgeist of the community is important to me. Keeping players, positive about the future of the game. We all have our complaints about the game, but to your point, that move being +5 and then even the tie is like, yeah, we don't want this move as Brian players. I see some other players saying, well, Brian's taunt's too strong. We can definitely say Arslan Ash thinks Brian's too strong.
Okay, but do you see someone say...
I wasn't done yet.
Okay, Jason, can I just ask you one favor?
I know, but you don't know the point I was going to make.
Okay, but no, I let you finish. Just one favor, like maybe a bit faster. But go on.
Okay, so although he doesn't like that move, okay, I see Arslan Ash.
I'm gonna get something to eat.
I've seen online people say Brian's taunt needs to be taken away because what other character gets an unblockable launcher? Like, that's unfair. And so when we say nerfing and tuning, it gets to a different level. And maybe I'm hoping we get to these type of discussions because I find them more interesting. Is that, well, what does nerfing even mean? What does tuning even mean? Like, make the game better. Like, okay, what does that mean? Because it means something different to you than it means to me.
No, to me it means something very, very
it means something different
precise.
to you.
Actually,
Yeah.
Look, I tell you why I asked who. I tell you why I asked who, because Arslan Ash also says he doesn't like the game very much. But that is neither here nor there. So we can always point at like other people saying something like I did with Ty as a Brian player. But I want to hear your take, because when you say, well, I don't agree with you. This shit is not dog shit. Then explain to me about your own character. Please tell me exactly why Flamingo, right Flamingo for free is not dog shit.
Dude, people step that move all the time.
You cannot
I
step
played
that
a Lily
move.
player last night. Right Flamingo, 4-3.
Yes, you cannot
Yes,
in these situations.
It's new +4 move, right?
Yeah, and in almost any situation where you use it, you cannot step
people
it.
do step it. People do step it. I'm telling you. I had a Lily player last night that ate me fucking alive. All right.
Jason, it's a
Not
14
only
frame
did-
mid
and
mid.
then not
If
only
you
that,
do,
let's say there's multiple times to step it, okay? And let's say you don't step it, okay? The one jab after it is so steppable, it's crazy. Like
Is
people
it?
step and launch all the time on that
I
move.
see. So now, then okay, you know what? Let me tell you the reality about this, because you are maybe under a misconception here. So this shit is, it's a 14 frame mid. So in most cases where you would use it, for example, after down 3-4, right? This is a brain dead mid option because you cannot step it. You are +14. You cannot step this. Now, this goes into left Flamingo, right? Now, you said something about this in the last podcast, which is why I said I indeed listened to you. You said, just sidestep right, bro. Now, I will tell you something here. This is where knowledge is simply important, because if I were under that impression, I would also not think the move is dog shit. But let me quickly just tell you. First of all, Hwoarang has a homing mid option, forward 4. So as you said,
Yeah, that gives up
sidestep.
its turn.
Look,
It's
wait.
Yeah, move,
You just, so you could say you just need to sidestep block, right? Just sidestep block. That is what you said. But are you aware that this exact sidestep block timing loses to left Flamingo down 3-4, which loops back into right Flamingo?
Wow, it's a paper, rock, paper,
It
scissors.
is.
Wow.
Wait, I'm not done.
I
I'm
never
not done.
thought Tekken would be rock,
Wait,
paper,
I am not
scissors
done.
game. You are
I
blowing
am
my
not
mind,
done.
Finn.
Can you
Blown
please
away
let me
here.
finish now?
Jason,
Blown
please.
away.
So maybe we can, Jason, maybe we can try sidestep left here instead of right. Well, in this case, down back 4, which is a low that in this case is homing, and +4 and -12 on block on top of that. Yeah. And Hwoarang's most annoying option that you want to avoid by going right. That is what you said, the 2 jab. If you go into this direction, you can no longer avoid this. Not even fucking Lily can avoid this. Which is the Flamingo
Okay.
jab, which is +5 on block. And you know what the most important point here is, and why I mentioned this move, which you don't know, even though it is on your main fucking character, is this
I don't know,
situation.
dude. I told you last night.
Wait. Is this situation completely busted and game breaking like Akuma level shit? No, it is not. Does it make the game unplayable dog shit? No, it does not. But the question
Okay,
is,
but
Jason, I want to
when you use that
wait. The
that's
question
option.
is, and I
Okay.
want to ask you this question, is should a situation like this be created from absolute brain dead moves? That is my question. Do you think this situation should be created from a move that is that brain dead?
Okay, so there's a couple of questions or things you have in here that I need to unpack. One of them is that
It's a yes or no. It's a yes or no answer. A yes or no.
Well, yeah, but you talked for 2-3 minutes, so there's a lot there, and I will get to your question.
Yeah, because you didn't know
question.
your own move on your own character. But you want to tell me season 2 is sick.
I do know my move on my own character. It can be stepped. I'm telling you, I played with it the other night. Not only that, like the typical Korean knowledge on, I shouldn't say that, the typical knowledge on
Korean knowledge
is that he's steppable when his leg is up. That's like just kind of rule of thumb stuff. It's not always true, right? He does have a homing move out of it, but that's the first thing I want to
Jason,
address.
I leapt this.
Let me finish. I'm trying to answer your question. That was the first thing you said was like, well, if the option doesn't work out, he has this option. And I go, yeah, that's always been Tekken, rock, paper, scissors. How that's every fighting game is rock, paper, scissors, right? I mean, that's so like just par for the course. And then whether I think it's a brain dead move or not, look, there's all moves out there that are somewhat spammable, but again, all characters have access to tools, and I don't focus on one to say the game is dog shit. I take it holistically. They all have powerful tools.
Jason, my question once again, I will clarify this. I am perfectly aware that fighting games have a lot of guessing in them, every single one. That is not my question. My question is...
I know it's not your
should
question,
the-
but I had to address it.
my question is, once again, should a situation like this, and you can trust me, I leapt this out, okay? My
I
question
have a
is,
video
should
I'll
a-
send you. I have a
my
video.
question is,
And
should
you
a
know,
situ-
but maybe I'm wrong. I mean, you seem really convinced on this,
Jason,
but
let
I'm
him
telling you,
finish.
I
Jason,
know.
my
it.
question
let him
is,
finish.
my question is, and I could explain the situation again to you or show you literally right now in game. My question is, should a situation like this be initiated from a move that brain dead? Because once again, it is a 14 frame mid that also second hit is not parryable. and it
Shout
also
outs
acts
to
as a counter
Zebos
hit
for
too,
telling
because
me
on
to
counter
watch
hit, it
this.
is
You were
natural.
right. This is
It
funny.
is 14 frames fast. Under almost no circumstance, if you get a hit into Flamingo, are you stepping this? You are not. Even from down 3-4 not, which you are plus 14. So once again, Jason, should an RPS situation like this be initiated from a move like that? I will ask you this.
Like, should Brian have his quarter circle back one? Like, should Asuka have her new plus frame moves? I mean,
Exactly,
again, I
Jason,
don't
you
know
get
how
it.
many different ways I can say the same thing. The same thing is they all have access to powerful tools. Like, again, this goes back to the very beginning of this so-called debate. Is that you don't take the nuance I give, and that's fine. Like, I don't even have a problem.
I don't take the nuance you
But-
give. Are you kidding me right now? You didn't even know this
what I'm
move.
saying is you don't leave
Chat. Boys, what does RPS stand for? RPS.
it at the here. Here's a better way to say it. Let me clarify. Is that you don't go, okay, Jay, that's the way you see it. I see it differently. We're just gonna have to agree to disagree. But you're like, no, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. And I go, dude, like, no, sorry, I do see that as a rock, paper, scissors situation. Dude, I don't see that as overly strong because other characters have overly strong shit. And you're like, no, you're wrong, you're wrong. And I'm like, okay. And then
You realize that you have perfectly encapsulated, you have perfectly described the problem. So you say we have to agree to disagree. Okay, we could, Jason, but you gave me no argument at the fucking all why you think this is sick, okay, or leads to a better Tekken experience. And what you also have not even done is knowing.
Well, no, you didn't ask those questions.
Wait.
You didn't ask
You-
about a better
Jason,
tech.
You
Jason,
didn't
Jason,
even
let
know
him
about this, and this is your fucking main character. And now you just said, oh, you know why it's not a problem? Because other characters have that shit as well. Do you realize that this is exactly the problem, Jason? I'm sorry, I don't want to insult you, but you get me really close.
Well, look, every Tekken's different, bro. Okay? Tekken 1's different than Tekken 2. Tekken 8 is different than Tekken 7. And there's pros here, real pros for Tekken 8 that has over Tekken 7. Is everything always an improvement? No. I watched your Akuma video, and I agree with you that there is not as a high level of expression for some of these characters, like an Akuma type character, or better said, would be like a Law character, right? Yeah, the level of
Remind me.
player expression, that dragging stance is so easy that you don't even have to cancel into it anymore. You can just do it,
The moment the Tekken community realizes that Akuma is every character now, we are gonna win. Legit. Because think about it. Heat dash is just meter cancel. Launching 10 frame counter hit is also meter. Heat burst extending the combo, making a 50-50 move that is launch punchable plus on block into another mix is a heat dash. Like every character, Akuma's identity got implemented into every character. After 2 months of the game, I said it, everyone called me a retard and said you don't have GOD yet.
They made that easier. And all those
you-
people that had the legacy time in to do that with Law, I mean, that showed, some real skill there. Like, yeah, sure, absolutely, you're right.
So is this one of the things where you would actually say...
Oh, go ahead.
Is this one of the things where you would say, yes, that is... Because someone like you, who is on this shit for so long, you can have no other take than what they did to Law is dog shit. Would you agree? Like complete and utter dog shit.
I wouldn't use that language, bro. That's the point that I'm coming from.
But how
Okay,
would
I
you
want-
describe this?
Because I don't want to demotivate players. Well, because Law is still a fun character to use. He may not be as fun for some people, but people love the character, and he's still competitive. Like if it was just like not competitive and no skill, then we wouldn't see any like hell. Even pros still drop combos. Even they miss timing. You know, so it still has a level of execution. It still has a level of difficulty. As much? No, I think we would
Wait,
both
DSS?
agree. Right? Yeah, we would both agree it's not as much, but
No, wait,
there's
not as
still a level of expression.
nothing. There is nothing anymore.
Okay, well, when I see Qdons play Hayachi, I totally disagree.
No, wait. With Law, wait, Jason.
Yeah.
Can you?
Well,
tell-
you just
can-
said nothing, so I'm just extrapolating.
No,
that
I
to
mean
okay,
Law.
but okay. Law. Sure, absolutely. There's no level of high level expression. I agree with you. Like I already said, I don't know how many times I have to say, I agree with you. That level of expression is not in the game anymore. And could be a bad thing, yes. Could be a good thing, yes. I think it's
Why is it a good?
I think it's up to the player to decide.
Wait, are you? Wait a minute, Jason. Do you actually know what they did to DSS?
I don't think
or are
I'm
you
shadow
just
banned.
trying
Just
to
don't go live so much. Please.
agree with me somehow? Do you know what they did to DSS?
No, dude, I'm not here just to agree with you somehow. I'm saying like that's a legitimate take. And like I've always said, there are legitimate takes here. And they can take that and move it into Tekken 9. You know, maybe they're going to want to create that. But they have to know what doing that, it's going to exclude some players from playing Law. That might be a worthy thing to do because it might make the competitive scene more happy. They'll be like, look, us as competitive players, we really appreciate the skill expression, and that's something that they should fully look into and decide upon. But just because Tekken 8 is different than Tekken 7 and Tekken 7 is different than Tekken 6 and Tekken 6 is different than Tekken 5 doesn't mean these different Tekkens are dog shit. That's a
No, it doesn't. Of course not. But I mean,
can I just jump in for a second here? I want this debate to move in a way where questions are being answered. And right now, there's a lot of gish galloping going on. So what I want going forward is if someone asks a direct question, I do not want references to other games. I want a direct answer from both of you about the game being asked, because we can all gish gallop. All that does is drag a conversation into a place where people can't even answer half of the arguments being presented. So if someone asks a direct question about a game or a character, please don't reference a previous game or previous iteration of the character unless asked otherwise. Okay.
November.
So, Jason, if you want to, who was speaking? Sorry.
I don't even remember.
Look, Jason, I just.
So if you want questions, I pretty much laid them out already in my opening statement that we were going to talk about Tekken 8, and that being 50-50 casino, defense is dead, game has lost its identity, or characters have lost their identities, and I disagree with those. And so those are all the questions I felt like we could address.
Okay.
Instead of like what my experience is, you don't know shit, you don't know. So
I didn't say.
Look,
I didn't say that.
I'm just like you said, 50-50 casino.
Jason, I didn't say that,
bro. I'm just using it as a term to express myself, bro. It's
no,
not
but I tell you why. But here,
term.
but here, the Hwoarang situation. That is why people use it, because you even said yourself, yes, this move leads to an RPS situation. But the question is.
Okay, but okay. Well, you finish, and then I have an answer.
The question is not the problem is not the RPS situation. The problem is how is this situation be created? And these tools, this in particular, is a season 2 tool, which you said only 1%. The vast majority was excellent. So
okay, it is an excellent tool because it's fun to use. But I have another example why this tool's okay. Not only because RPS is okay, because RPSs exist in every fighting game, but I have another example why it's okay.
Okay, then go.
Okay.
Yeah, go.
Okay. So the reason it's okay is because, again, when we laser focus on these moves and we look them at a vacuum, we go, yeah, that move's the problem. Whether it's Asuka's, Brian's, Hwoarang's, or whoever. But these moves don't exist in the vacuum. It takes risky poking, risky positional wins, and risky timing wins. And if you win those risky wins of position, timing, pokes, then you're given the opportunity to do those RPS moves a lot, or 50-50, things like that. But again, I'm looking at the whole picture. People are looking at just a laser focus move like we've been talking about. And I'm saying, yeah, the game is more than that. The game isn't so fragile that
But you can only
the game isn't so fragile that 1 to 3 new moves per character has ruined the game. 1 to 3 new moves per character, I've done the math and I forget exactly. It's like out of the 100 character kits moves, that's like 1 to 4%. And that's even when you address the fact that, you know, people are maybe just using 20 moves out of that, you know, 100 set. It's like not a huge change. So the character is 96 and 99% the same.
let me you're completely correct about that. So let me ask you a question. So Zafina got a few new moves. Now there's one move in particular, which is back 1+2. There was one move. Do you know what this move does and did?
I don't
There's
remember.
only
Is
one
that
move.
It did that big old huge punch. Is that the one? And like left
It
her
did
like
it did a
hugely at
big
plus?
Assassin claw, yeah.
Yeah, and it left her like a huge advantage, right?
No,
and
it
like
was
what's
a-
on wake up. It's horrible, right?
It was a full
Yo-yo.
screen homing
Yeah.
mid that was
Yeah.
+4 on block. Now, would you
No.
agree? Because you said the game isn't as fragile that one move can basically like
Hello.
ruin a character or change. Like the thing is, Jason, the problem here is that these moves are that powerful that even these 3 or 4 or 2 can heavily warp not the win rate of the character, or now the character is tournament dominant. That you are correct. You're completely correct about that. But that is not the problem. The problem is the whole gameplay loop and the round-to-round gameplay changes in a way that a lot of people would call dog shit. Because something like Zafina's back 1+2, even though it lost the homing property, is still a half screen mid that is +2 on block now and gives a full wall splat. Now I give you another example. Let's go to a game that I actually like.
You can
but not
use
to-
June's like half screen like hit. Like I get it. There's so
No,
many
the
moves
thing,
that are, like
so
you're
you
like,
would agree
whoa.
here, because I can also go to a game that, you know, how many people glaze that game, right? But I played that character. I played Akuma. Now, what would you say if Akuma suddenly there's a season update and Akuma doesn't have down 3 and he gets down 3? Would you say that is a move that can actually will now transform the character in something that is very problematic?
Well, you know, this is what I would say to that. We have to give these moves breathing room to see how they play out sometimes.
Exactly.
And so, like, you know, Paul's and some of them you don't like. Paul's and Jack's makes noise, obvious out the gate. Like, oh yeah, no, this needs to be fixed. You know, some of these moves, like Hwoarang's down 3+4, it used to like do knockdown on counter hit, something like crazy. I forget what it was. I don't
I
know.
can
the
tell you it was
pluses on that.
+32
You'll
on
have to
counter
forgive
hit.
me on that.
It was
but-
+32.
Yeah, it was just crazy, right? Like, so that needed tuning, but I do think it's still a good addition to his kit. And the Suzuka's too, like I do too. And the reason is, like I stated before, is meta keeps the game interesting when meta shifts. And if the game is just to say stagnant and there's no character evolution, I do think that's unfair because, like I said, some characters in Tekken 7 and 5 and 4 and just the whole Tekken series, like, it's always had the problem of some characters just being stuck in B tier status. And so what's been refreshing for me as a Tekken fan throughout the franchises is I feel so many more characters are viable in 8. Like where I felt like maybe just 50% of the characters were viable in maybe Tekken 5 DR, you know, I'm talking high levels of play here, you know, that I feel in Tekken 8, boy, man, we have seen some great character diversity at ECW, at Evo Vegas, and people always go, well, not Evo Vegas because it was a mirror match. I go, yeah, but if you look at the top 8, like there was still diversity. We did have 2 Annas. Like I get the complaint. It's not the best feel. But still, even with that, it was pretty cool to see Arslan, Ash, and Antif kind of tell Arslan, dude, this is my character. Like there was a sub story there. That was pretty cool that I enjoyed
No.
watching.
Bro, I swear he made that up. Wallah, he made that up, bro.
My character. Like there was a sub story, and Antif kind of tell Arslan, dude, this is my character. Like there was a sub story there that was pretty cool that I enjoyed watching. And then Arslan we did get a lore accurate ending too, which was the sisters fighting each other. So there's still things to take away and enjoy about it.
Finn, you there?
Yeah, but Jason, we are drifting every time. We are drifting like so much away because all of this shit is like it makes up season 2. It makes up this game. And when you say these moves need breathing room, right? Now a lot of these moves that are still in the game, they got their breathing room. You know, like for example, heat smashes. They got their breathing room. And you know, I don't know. Every person I asked that I play with is like, I think that shit would better if that wouldn't be so heavily rewarded on block, or that some of them, quite some of them, are, even if they whiff, still not insanely easy to whiff punish as they should be. Now this shit is in the game for more than 1.5 years, and I want to, because I think we have a big problem here, Jason. And I want to just with one move, because this is something that you said as an argument in the last talk, and I looked into that. Now, do you know Leo, right? Now Leo has now a low in BOK, which is +2, -13. It has incredible tracking. So in most situations, you're not stepping that, right? Now,
it's not
now
huge
you have
damage, though. Thank gosh for that.
It doesn't do that. You're right, but now you have a reason to duck into BOK, and he has block 2, which is a safe mid launchers. Now, once again, I'm not saying this is like game ending now, right? Because they made it not -12 but -13. I'm not saying this is game ending or something, but I'm saying I noticed something that worries me, because they already had this low before, and now I want to address this. You said this. We also need to give them maybe a bit more time from like arcade release. You mentioned this in the past, like, hey, arcade release and then the home release comes. But Jason, something that makes me worried and why I think this is really bad is because in every single one of those instances, when I looked into it, or I actually know about it, this shit was toned down. And with Tekken 6, the Bloodline Rebellion version was released in a shorter time frame than season 2 was released for Tekken 8. They had less time for that, for Bloodline Rebellion. And do you know what they did? Because in Tekken 6 Vanilla, Leo had this low, a low like this, in Vanilla. They removed it. Back then, they said, this shit is too powerful. He shouldn't have a low that wants you to duck this stance. This is stupid. They themselves, the Tekken developers themselves, at that time, the old team or whoever it was, looked at this and said, this is dog shit. They said that, not me. And they removed it. Now, do you now realize why people are so mad and worried? Because they had the feedback, they had the time for the entire season 1, and even before that, in the network test, and we get season 2, and that now they take their fucking time to do anything about what's left? This is why, Jason. This is why people are pissed. Do you acknowledge?
Okay. So you said a few things here, which I wanted to give you your space and not.
Okay, one question. Do you want me to keep watching this? Do you want me to play a horror game? Maybe we play another Fears to Fathom. Or I play Tekken. You decide.
Talk over you. I can answer now, right? So, okay, the first thing you went to is like dislike of Heat plus moves on block.
Yo,
and Heat was definitely
just chilling.
I mean, Heat was too strong in the beginning. I totally agree. It was plus 17 on hit. I mean, right? That's just too much. However, we're not there today. Heat today, although still plus on block on some moves, some basic pokes give block on, or plus blocks on Brian's back one is plus, I think, 4 on block.
That's correct.
So basic pokes give pluses, right?
So even though
that
back one,
heat
I
gets
wouldn't. That is not poke, but yeah.
Oh, okay, but let me finish. And some basic pokes, not only do they give plus on block, they also give plus on hit. Now that heat is properly tuned, because it was overtuned in the past, even with the pluses on block, it's like some pokes. And even on hit, now that it's just +9, that's like some pokes. A basic jab punch is +8, just 1 frame less than what a heat engagement.
I know your
is.
take on this, yeah.
I swear to God, I don't know what the fuck this guy is on about. First of all, back 1 is not a poke. Second of all, a poke being plus on hit. What do you want to say? What is he trying to say?
Yeah, so I mean, and that's all I'm saying is a balanced look. Like I agree, and and I think and I don't blame us as like human beings or people feeling this way, because if it feels so bad sometimes the first time out, it's hard to get used to, maybe when it's like made better, because you just got those old feelings. And like, look, yeah, old heat, totally egregious, but new heat, I'm like, dude, it's a pretty looking poke. It looks and it feels good.
I can get to that if you want, but I wanted to have your take on the Boklo.
Right. Okay. Right. And well, you said that part first, so I wanted to address that. And then your second part on them taking out his low attack out of 6, because they said it was egregious at 6, yet they bring it back in 8.
Yeah.
You're asking me to kind of pontificate. What's the question? So you asked me like, why would they do this, or like?
Naja, I'm asking you like, no, it's not why. Okay, I mean we can speculate why they.
Right,
you already said it. It's too egregious, right? It's too egregious. That is why they didn't give it to him. Why they took it out, and it never came back until season 2, Tekken 8.
Right. Maybe it's personal taste on this. Like I said, chocolate vanilla. I don't have a problem with it because it's not that much damage.
Chocolate vanilla.
Right? I'm like, yeah, okay, it's a little poke. I mean, it's good. He has the option now. It's again rock paper scissors, just like so many things in any fighting game. And I go, well, since it meets the rock paper scissors metric, it meets that he still needs to win risky position on me. He needs to win risky timing or risky pokes. Like, since it meets all that, I'm okay with that because it doesn't do a lot of damage. Like, if it was something just egregious, I would have a real problem with it. Now, in terms of like why they would bring it back, well, like you said, you're 100% correct. Speculation, I couldn't speculate on that.
I mean, so you don't have a problem with this as well, with this design, that like the stance has to have an effective mix-up. That doesn't bother you because the low doesn't do that much damage. Is that your take?
And I would like to know the frames. Like, if I was really going to dig into this, what's the frames of the low for the active frames to come out? What's the frames of the mid? Sometimes there's you can just get decent at a fuzzy duck. Does it have that ability where, like, man, if I fuzzy duck with 2 frames, I'll parry that low and stand up in time for the mid. So
well,
I'd like
Jason,
to dig a little bit deeper on anything like that.
It's a free frame fuzzy, so you're not going to fuzzy that.
Yeah. Then, like I said, still don't have a huge problem with it. It's not a lot of damage.
So you don't have... Okay, that's all I want.
Yeah, it's not winning him any tournaments. Like, if it was an egregious move, I'd be like,
it's not about that, Jason. Why? It's not about that. It's not about that.
But it is to me, because I look at the holistic view. Well, a lot of people that are detractors of Tekken 8 are taking a very myopic view. That's just not what I do. I've been through this rodeo a million times. Literally, when Tekken Tag released the Tekken 4, so many people hated 4. And then when 4 went to 5, I had some players that were like, I hate 5. It's nothing like 4. I love 4. I'm like, going, what? What are you guys talking about? And then when 5 went to 6, the same thing. So I got used. So Tekken 8's old news to me in that sense. What you mean? Some players are dissatisfied? shocking because every Tekken is different, as I said. Tekken 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is different. And guess what? Tekken 9 is going to be different too. I just don't want our experience as a community to go through.
Jason, let me just cut you up for a second because I want to move this debate forward, and I do like Finn's line of questioning when it comes to Leo's stance. So I'm going to ask a question for both of you, and I'll let Finn answer first, and then Jason. Just keep your answers brief and concise. If you're talking holistically with regards to a stance.
Okay, I am gonna give you now the reason why we think that this person is Jewish. In case you are interested, because he uses these Israeli gaslight techniques. It's just kind of funny to watch. So, Grog, is the name Montoya specifically for people in New Mexico connected to something called crypto Jew? Jews that hide or pretend to be something other than Jewish. Historically, records from Spanish Inquisition in New Spain, including areas that became New Mexico, list Montoya among surnames of conversos, Jews who converted to Christianity, but secretly blah 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 practiced Judaism. Okay, thank you. Where is Jason Montoya on X from? The person that defends Tekken on the timeline. Jason Montoya, they call Monty, is from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Based on 2000's article about the local Tekken and FGC scene there. His bio doesn't specifically location, but historically context ties him to Bandai Namco. Michael Murray has been tagged, etc, etc. So, yeah. He really is Jewish.
And they add a new move in, right? We're talking interconnected, right? Yeah. I'll use Feng Wei as an example because I play him. If they add in a move that is a launcher that is safe, right? Holistically speaking, the entire stance has now changed. Everything has become much more powerful because nobody's going to duck Feng Wei's safe launcher, right? Let's say that Back Kempo 3 becomes safe. No one's ducking anymore because why would you risk that? So suddenly, if we're talking holistically, the entire stance becomes a problem because everyone's going to have to eat the low now. You're going to eat the low because you don't want to get launched. So my question is, with regards to Leo's move that was in Tekken 6 and removed and brought back, holistically speaking, do you think it's a problem?
Yes, that's my
No,
take.
sorry, Finn, you're first. Go ahead.
I'm done. I'm done.
Oh, okay. So just my question then?
Yeah.
Okay. So again, I think we got to give these moves breathing room. Like there was such a huge response and hyperbolic response on the new moves when they were given originally in season 2. And as we've seen through all the major tournaments, that these new moves have not been so egregious that they're just spammed all the time. Like, whoa, man, you're just seeing every player spam that move all the time to make wins. Again, arguably only 2 characters have really moved around in the tier list, and that's Asuka and Lars. So, maybe that points to them, hey, maybe we need to take a look here. And I've always had try to approach this with more balanced view that, yeah, tuning needs to happen. And that's a tough thing to say because your idea of tuning might be different than my idea of tuning. So it's very difficult, I think, to try to approach. But I don't have a problem with the move because if it showed up as an outlier in tournament play, then I'll be like, yeah, maybe that's a problem. Like I do really feel like Claudio's charge move has showed up in tournament play to be just a little too powerful. If that move was like that, I would agree.
I want to try and keep this as concise as possible. So I've heard your answer. Let me ask Finn now. Finn, can you explain why this addition or re-adding of this move to Leo is a problem for the stance?
Well, it is holistically a problem because this stance was not a mix-up stance. And so it's not a problem for the stance. The stance is now better. But in terms of gameplay, I'm now adding a mix-up. Now I have a reason to duck into this. And on top of that, the low is relatively low risks. So this is just mix where there is no need for mix. Now, my personal opinion is that this shit is obnoxious and annoying to deal with, and not everything needs to be a straight up mix. This is, in my opinion, why so many people get exhausted playing this stuff, because there is just constantly the threat of a mix and an RPS situation at every fucking turn.
I'd like to add on to the exhaustion point. Tekken 8 is more exhausting to play than Tekken 7. And I feel that's because the interactions do happen faster. They do happen more often. And Tekken 8 also requires you to have more matchup knowledge, and it requires you to use more diversity of defensive moves. You know, where Tekken 7, you're able to rely on a lot on Magic 4 and or KBD, and those were probably good options to go to, 50, 60, 70% of the time, depending on the character. You can't do that as much in Tekken 8. So you're required to use things like high crush, low crush, evasion moves like Kempo Step, AOP, Yoshi Spin, sidestep, sidewalk. And because these decisions come out so much faster at you, I agree, it is more exhausting to play. However, because they're coming at you so fast, I feel it's kind of also the hype. I mean, these matches are intense. Like when you're locked in, it's like second to second, so I think that can be a pro and a con.
I want to ask one question. I want to ask why I just need because you say you need more matchup knowledge and it's hype and shit, but you don't know anything about what you're dealing with in this game. You don't know, like not a single move I've asked you about that is season 2, which you make statements about season 2 that people treated unfairly. It wasn't as bad. It wasn't overreaction. I'm telling you the exact moves and why people are, in my opinion, not overreacting and still not overreacting.
Congratulations.
And you don't know them.
Proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that your frame memorization and frame knowledge is better than mine. Cool, bro. Cool story.
Not better. You literally have 0.
Okay. I'm sure that absolute statement is correct.
Yeah, bro. Okay. Reina down to 1 + 2.
Personal attacks, Mike. Come on, moderate this.
It's not a personal attack. It's literally a fact.
Okay, wait, hold on. Let me just explain. If we're talking about anything, for example, if I was talking about a manga and I asked you about a particular chapter in a debate and you didn't know the answer, then it would be fair to say you're not equipped to talk about said thing.
Okay, but obviously,
hold on, Jason, hold on. It's not a personal attack.
Go ahead.
It's not a personal attack to say that in a debate, because the point of this debate here is, I guess, Finn is trying to prove that you're not equipped to talk about Tekken 8, which is not a personal attack. You might think that you are. You said earlier that you know enough, but you knowing enough,
and that's exactly my point. I know enough.
Hold on.
This was a talk about
hold
Tekken 8, not
Jason. Jason, chill. It's not a personal attack. It's if you think you know more enough, somebody else might say you don't.
Bro, I am still waiting for the moment where he says that this is an anti-Semitic hate crime. What you are saying right now.
And that's where the debate starts, right? And you try to push back.
I've addressed this. It's just that Finn doesn't like my answer. And like I've said, if
he doesn't have to like it, though. It's not a personal attack.
It's my turn to answer, right? Okay, so here's my answer. Is that all the nuances I've given Finn, he just tosses aside. That's fine. That's his thing to do. However, to say that I know nothing about Tekken 8, that I know absolutely 0 frame knowledge, it's just, come on, man. I mean, can't we see that?
I gave you example.
Can't we see that's a bit hyperbolic? That's a bit
okay. You can call it a bit hyperbolic.
To the point now, Finn, that like you don't believe I know anything about the game and legitimacy. Then why did you even have the chat with me? That means the reason you would have the chat with me is because you want to do personal attacks. That's why.
No, can I? Okay, wait. You asked the question. I will answer this because on Twitter, where you like to tweet so much, you never really address a specific thing, but you always talk about nuances. But you're not willing to wait. Can you please shut up for a fucking moment? You always say, I don't want to address nuances. And when someone with you actually wants to get into the meat and bones of what makes a fighting game, for example, moves and how strong they are, how much option coverage they are. You simply say, I don't know. I ask you about your own fucking character and you don't know. So you think it's a bit hyperbolic to
Obviously,
say
I
that
know
you don't...
enough, Finn. I mean, I've given you examples, and every example I give you data points, whether it's tournament results or hey, it's +9 now. It's no longer +17. So but I forgot. I know nothing. No frame data.
Look.
See how you're pigeonholing me? You're a piece of work, bro. And
thank you for recognizing
I
this.
really find it like that you don't see that the way he's couching this is more, look, Jason doesn't know shit. He doesn't know that. And that's not what this discussion was about. There is a legitimate take to be charitable to you that a person has to know enough, right?
Okay.
I think I have definitely shown I know something,
Look,
Wait,
you don't know
that's
enough.
not what Finn's saying.
You don't
Finn's saying, I
know
don't
enough.
shit.
Guys, wait, hold on, guys. Let me just ask a question to Jason so we can move this forward and get away from the personal stuff. Is Tekken your entire personality? Just yes or no?
What does that mean?
Is Tekken because some people a piece of media or a piece of entertainment encapsulates everything about them. It's all they are. Is Tekken your entire personality? Do you eat, sleep, wake up? All you do is Tekken.
I think you can even see from my background that's not the case.
Okay,
I love comics. I love art. I love movies.
No, it's fine. That's fine.
And that's the thing. That's
Jason, hold on. You don't need to. You don't need to go
but you
beyond.
asked me a question. Can I answer?
No, I asked you yes or no. You're not answering yes or no. I just wanted yes or no.
Okay, no.
Okay, so if Tekken is not your entire personality, this is not a personal attack. This is an attack on your characterizations and your arguments on Tekken. We have got to get away from this emotional talking point. There's no personal attacks here. None.
No, because I'm sorry, we'll just have to agree to disagree here, okay? Because if he keeps going back to the same...
Well, the way he said that sounded so gay. One more time. How can you, bro, why do Jews always victimize themselves? Even in Tekken.
So if Tekken is not your entire personality, this is not a personal attack. This is an attack on your characterizations and your arguments on Tekken. We have got to get away from this emotional talking point. There's no personal attacks here. None.
No, because I'm sorry, we'll just have to agree to disagree here, okay? Because if he keeps going back to the same well, saying, Jason, you don't know shit, okay? That's a personal attack, okay? If he's saying that people... Well, let me finish. If he's saying that I misled people, then, or I'm talking bad like on Speed Kicks, how he said, that I'm misrepresenting people. Look, he had a point. I didn't speak exactly there, but it's still an attack on my character. And might you forget, and this is just amazing to me, how a moderator can forget this. He's the one, did he, yes or no question, say he's going to make it about me? Did he say that in the beginning?
Yeah, but about
yes
your
or no?
takes on...
Yeah, but it is about you. It is about you and me.
Okay, so Finn, just you're a piece of work, bro. You admit Jason, it's about me. So
of course, otherwise I would debate. I wouldn't debate you. But of course it is about you. Otherwise I wouldn't debate you.
And then you have our moderator here who leans into your position. Doesn't even recognize that the original take you took was you. I'm going to make this about
Jason,
you, Jason. Like, okay.
Jason, let me give you an offering. Because look, I know you were trained by the American Koreans and by Tom Hilfiger, but I have to stress this. You say I am someone that is actually overreacting. I'm trying to get to the nuances of shit. Now, the nuances of a fighting game is... Wait, one moment. Give me just one moment to finish this. Bro, please. I tried to go in the nuances. I ask you about the move, and I want to see if you know about it. Because if you don't, that is one more tiny reason why you might be wrong.
Oh my God, moderator, he's going to the same thing. Says the same thing over
Is that
and over.
okay?
Jason,
why is that a problem for you? Why is that a problem?
I've answered this before, Finn. I said I know enough. I know something. I've dealt with the game for over 30 years.
But you don't.
But you're like, but I don't. Okay, moderator. I mean, seriously. And this
I try to prove that he doesn't. I try to prove that this guy doesn't know what he's talking about.
Finn, you're into like person-to-person drama. And
personal drama, bro.
Yeah,
guys, both of you shut up for 2 seconds, okay? Please. It is, if we are talking about Tekken and someone says to me, Mike, you don't know enough about Tekken. They're talking about my knowledge on Tekken. They're not attacking me as a person. That is not a personal attack. Now, what I want to do going forward is get away from this childish shit, because we are grown men. We're not doing this, okay? Now, if Jason doesn't like Finn's point, and he says that Finn is leading the community in a bad direction because of the way he talks about the game, that's fine for him to say, and Finn can push back on that. If Finn believes that you're not knowledgeable enough to talk about Tekken, then that's fine, and you can push back on that. None of this is personal. We're going to drop this and move forward, okay? We are not 10 years old. Let us move the conversation beyond this.
Okay, can I have Finn recant that he's going to make this about me like his original statement said? Do you recant that, Finn?
But it is about your knowledge about the. I don't know how to answer
That's
this,
fair.
Jason.
Wait, hold on, Finn. That's fair. It's about your knowledge, not about you as a person. That's fine.
Right. And so we're just going to have to disagree here, Finn. I know enough about the game. I may not know enough according to your standard, whoever you are.
Are you willing to prove that you know enough?
But I know enough about the game. Sorry, your standards are so high. I'm hoping Nee can match your standards.
Wait,
Sorry, all us other players that go to tournaments, love the game, play a lot, don't meet your standards. Because Finn's the setter of all standards. Good work.
Can I
Finn.
define you my standard? Do you want? I can tell you my standard in one sentence.
No, because I don't care about your standard. Because I know what I know.
Okay, maybe the audience cares about my standard, so I will.
They can see that I know enough. So
look, my standard.
You don't know 100% about the game either. That's
Bro, the standard is basically just knowing what you talk about. And if you don't know about what you're talking, then stop talking about it.
my standard.
That is true. But I know in
every 100% about the game.
But Jason,
that's my standard to you.
No, Jason,
do you know 100% about the game?
Jason, can you just
you're not meeting my
one
standard.
moment? Let me look. You know my I think that I actually know enough about season 2 and the game. You don't.
I don't think you know.
Shut the fuck up for one moment.
That's what
Holy
you told
fucking
me.
shit. Look, my standard
using
is
your words,
that maybe. Look, my fucking standard is that you should maybe be able to describe the new season 2 move you use on your main character. You can't even do that. You couldn't do that.
Told
Do you think?
I have.
No,
I told
you
it's
had
a
the
plus
situ.
4 move.
You said
I told
sidestep
you that
right
it
block,
was
bro.
Steppable. And even if I don't think I'm wrong at that, even after that, anything after that, follow up for the one, that's the only thing that's truly safe after that. It's not even really safe because if you're really frosty, you can duck it and launch it, and you can sidestep and launch all day long. So
In what direction?
I know you're not correct on that.
In what direction?
It might be both. It might be like it's such
No,
a
it's not.
linear fucking
No,
move.
it's not.
Oh,
Not
okay.
even- no,
great,
it's not.
great. You met your standard of having a little more information than me, but you still
Because-
not
look,
meeting my standard of being 100% knowing about fucking everything.
Look, that is because my standard is not that you should be able to know about everything. But I am not. Look, I am not the one.
Dude,
going
who are
around.
you? I don't care about your standards, so we can get off standards. I don't
Bro,
care.
I know.
I don't
Look,
care what your standard is.
I know that you like to inflate your ego by saying you have trained with the absolute best and inflating the
Dude,
amount
I've
of
already
tournaments
said I'm
that you actually
trash.
won. But
I already
look,
said I'm trash. That's not inflating my ego.
I know you like to do
I am a
that.
trash player compared to so many players, and what I used.
that
to
is
even
not what
be
you
a
usually
trash
tell. That is not what you usually tell people in your comments and on Twitter.
Well, because again, let them know I know enough. I mean,
No, you don't say you are a trash player. You don't say
standard,
that.
do I? Your Finn's magical standard. I don't meet Finn's magical standard. You know what? But I meet a standard of something. You know,
Yeah, that standard is nothing.
Bro, but the standard is definitely not to say that an I-22 move is a poke. Huh?
And it's not good enough for you, Finn. Guess
Look.
what? I don't care. I don't care.
Okay, fantastic.
wow.
But let me
Okay,
just
guys,
tell
hold
you.
on.
Now,
Why
one
don't we
thing,
move
Mike.
on to
One
the
thing
next point?
Okay, just one thing I want to just Chaos RD is in chat right now. To him, you said you don't even know who I am, bro. I'm like I played this game for fucking 30 years, national level player. That is, I competed with this in this game for 30 years. That is what you usually like to tell people. Suddenly, when you are questions about it, when I question you about it, you are really quiet and say, I'm a trash player, I'm a trash player. Usually you go around telling people how sick you are and that you have
Because
trained with
these
the
things are done
American Koreans, Tom Hilfiger.
I can answer that, okay? One is because these things, again, are done in context, holistically, okay? When I view myself, like if I was just a player and I didn't have the history and I thought I was like a good player today, then I would be delusional, okay? But I do know the history. I do know the levels of play. I do know like what it takes 8 to 10, 12 hours a day to play this game at a high level. Because I can see that peak, I go, man, I suck at this game. Like I am nowhere where I used to be. However, when people online are
I think Jason Montoya is between Bushin and Tekken King.
saying, well, you don't know shit about the game, I can go, whoa,
Yo, Max.
I know something.
What's up, bro?
Okay? And that's my problem with you saying in such a solid term that I know absolutely nothing about it. You know, screw you, bro. Screw you. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Let me ask a question then. So
I think, and I say this as a GOD1 Kazuya, yeah, respect my name. You don't have to have GOD1 to talk about the game, but you need to know the theory of it so you can have arguments. He doesn't have that theory. He doesn't know anything. He doesn't know anything. So it is reasonable to say that you don't know shit. You can say holistically and macro view and broader perspective and all this dog shit. But if you don't know the ins and outs in the micro perspective, you can't draw a bigger conclusion. It doesn't work like that. First you build the blocks, that means the knowledge in the detail, and then you can take a broader view. How can you have a broader view if you don't know shit?
that can help this conversation move forward. I'll ask it to both of you. I'll let Finn answer first and then Jason. If you are a high-level player in Tekken Tag 1 and you know loads about that game, do you believe that information transfers over to modern Tekken, like 8, for example? And I'm talking like completely. Like if you took your skills and where you placed in Tekken Tag 1, and that was like the last one that you placed at, and then post Tekken 5, because that's really the framework that we work from now, do you think your knowledge on Tekken Tag 1 is going to be as good as somebody that actually sits down and plays Tekken 8 just because you compete at a high level on that? I'll let Finn answer first and then Jason.
So his knowledge about, sorry, I didn't really, can you just very shortly?
You did well on that game. Your answer is no. What is your answer, Jason?
Again, it's so myopic. I feel.
But you can answer however you want. You have to say yes or no.
Right. Well, I think Finn's answer is myopic because it's just a no. Okay. Me, I take, again, sound like a broken record here. I take a full look at the history of Tekken. As I've said, none of us can argue this. Tekken 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are all different. 8's different, right? And you have to approach each game on its own merits. There were some things better about Tag 1
The Titty update
than there was Tekken 4. There was actually some good stuff from Tekken 4 that moved forward, even though that's viewed as typically the worst of the series. It's the one that introduced walls. And we all love playing with walls now.
Do we?
Again, we feel that's where like your opinions can be different than mine.
The
on
chat
walls,
answer would be,
but
if I want a titty upgrade, I need to get a new girlfriend.
You know, I'm sure there's players like you that don't, and I'm sure there's lots of players.
No, it's not that I don't. Well,
wait, hold
if
on,
I
Jason.
play,
I don't want to speak for you.
Jason, do you think that the walls in Tekken 4 operate the way they do in other Tekken games?
No, but what it does is give me an appreciation and an understanding from series to series. Like, there's such a great player, Junior from Arizona, that played Tag 1. He was exceptional. He was on his way, I think, to be a national caliber player. But you know what? He didn't like 4. And even when 5 came back, and
Hermeneutische Circle is also. I didn't refer to it, but it describes
and like I said,
the same
there's people
thing.
that don't like 4, or that actually like 4. Can't believe it, but there are, and they didn't like 5, and that some people like 7 and they don't like 8. I go, welcome to the archetype. Like that is the archetype of every new game. How am I saying? Like, am I wrong on this?
No,
Is
but
there
that's not
people
that's
that
not the
love
question.
one?
That's not the
Right.
question,
So
Jason.
yes, I think it does help in terms of understanding that new moves and new properties and new ways to operate are going to be in Tekken 8, just like Tekken 7, just like Tekken 6. And because of that, I think
That's
it
not what I
does
asked
help.
you. That's not.
No, but I think it does. I'll give you an example where I think it helps. Okay, is because maybe a player like me who doesn't have.
There's a comment that I find a little bit funny. I wonder what you guys think about it. This guy is what I dislike about fighting GM times 100.
That viewpoint to me, he's like, man, this isn't Tekken. This isn't it. But I go, no, every Tekken you got to learn new things. You got to adapt to new things. Like, I'm okay with it. So I think it does help. That's what you asked me. Do I think it helps? Yes, I think that holistic.
The thing is, fighting GM has good parts about him, and he is a very sick player. But I would say whatever I would disagree with on fighting GM, he embodies it really times 100. All his bad traits, like, concentrated on one point.
View helps.
No, that was my original question. I mean, the question that I just asked.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, do you want me to
What
go over
was
it
your
again?
question? What was your question? I must have missed it.
So, all right, I'll rephrase it. So, in Tekken 4, they introduced walls, right? And at the time, people hated it. But now, over time, you know, people have grown to accept walls, even though there's still a lot of people that might not like them. We've accepted them over time. But do you think that people would be happy with Tekken 4 walls in Tekken 8?
I don't think that's a realistic question because every Tekken refines and hopefully does improvement. So I find the question not like a question that
I think Tekken 9 is gonna be amazing, by the way. It feels like the One Piece time skip where Bartholomeus just throws all of us onto a different island, and some people are like running away from the transgenders at the moment, like Sanji and shit. And then maybe when Tekken 9 comes, we all come back together, forget about that nightmare, and Tekken 9 will be amazing.
would happen in reality. They won't bring, I don't know where they would bring that exact
The reason I'm asking you that,
from 4 into 5, which they didn't. They didn't bring the exact one into
Jason,
6.
the reason I'm asking you that is because if people go back and play Tekken 4 now, their gripes of the walls would be completely valid. And over time, they refined it. You're correct. They did refine it. But my point is that the walls were introduced.
Tekken 9 is around 2027. So in 2 years.
I'll let you answer. My point is that they introduced walls in Tekken 4, and over time, they got better. They've introduced heat and a bunch of other things in Tekken 8, and maybe in future Tekkens, hopefully not, they'll bring it back and they'll refine it over time. But the initial introduction and the games that had them were not received very well. If Tekken 4 walls were in Tekken 8, the criticisms of Tekken 4 would apply to Tekken 8. So when people were bitching about Tekken 4 back then, they were well within the...
Okay, reasons why Tekken 9 comes out in around 2 years. Tekken 8 is a flop. Tekken 9 is supposed to come out for PlayStation 6 as a release title. Harada confirmed that it's gonna be his last Tekken. Harada confirmed that development on Tekken 9 already started.
Right, to the same way people are bitching about Tekken 8 right now because of the introduction of heat.
Okay, let me answer that. So, yes, some people didn't like walls in Tekken 4. And absolutely, I give them credit to say that it was a legitimate complaint to some people. But you know what, Mike? I know this might be hard to believe. Some people loved the walls in Tekken 4. Of course, they were player to player, sometimes player dependent, right? I mean, like, Steve just had better wall combos. Paul had better wall combos. Just some characters had better wall combos. And that's true today, too. So I don't accept the premise where you said that people in Tekken 4 are legitimate to criticize the walls, because some people did like the walls. Some people even like the elevation differences.
What do you think the general...
You know, the thing with Heat, I think Heat could have been good. truthfully, I also think that recoverable health for combos only is really good, because then you still have a chance to fight out the rounds and come back. But recoverable health in the neutral is stupid, and it just makes no sense. I think heat dashes should have given follow-ups instead of full combo. But it is what it is.
But, and to my bigger point, arcade point is, yeah, walls are different in 8. They're different in 5. They're always different. Like Tekken is different every iteration we get.
I don't think you're understanding what I'm trying to get.
No, I get what you're saying, but it's done in a manner. The way it's couched is like,
when Tekken 9 is good, everyone will come back.
I don't accept that course you're taking with it, which is okay. It just means we disagree even at the very premise, where you're like, people had legitimate criticisms against walls. I go, yeah, well, there's people that love walls.
So they're gonna cancel the current game like MK? I think what they are planning to do with Tekken 8 right now is just those like brain-dead consumer drones that they have right now. They're gonna milk them as much as they can with like a Titty update here and a Guna update there, maybe some fucking next bullshit next time, and like slowly milk the cow and not really care too much about the game balancing, I'll be honest with you. They're gonna put like a slop update where they change 3 characters a little bit somewhere and then give the strength somewhere else and then move the goalposts, and then you look at the character like always and be like, yeah, okay, maybe they nerf this but they buff this instead. What's the point? All the time they do that.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question about one more move that I find brain dead?
Sure.
Because I play that character occasionally, so I should actually have fun with this, but I don't.
Oh, another thing. They have fired the guys from Virtua Fighter. No, not Virtua Fighter, sorry. Dead or Alive. They have fired the guys from Dead or Alive that were part of the game design. They are not. One of them made like a tweet and stuff. Hey, my road with Tekken and Bandai Namco comes to an end here, etc., etc.
Down to 1+2. Now, this is a 15 frame fast elbow that after a heat engage, unless you are someone like Jin or Leroy, is literally guaranteed to connect. And a completely brain-dead mid-check that is +10 on block into Unsoku. And if you are near the wall and that hits your normal hit, you have a bad time. So this is where like, I want the game to give me these like holistic nuances and shit, but there is none. Because down to 1+2 is that brain dead. Do you agree with me?
Yeah, and it could use tuning. I feel like it could use tuning. But again, you know, we look at so many moves, and I agree with you that needs tuning, you know. But again, I don't take the myopic view to extrapolate from that the game as a whole is dog shit. Okay? I take that.
I don't say that.
Okay, maybe you don't, but I guess let me reword it then. I'm glad to hear the clarification. Okay, thank you for that. So I feel a lot of the extrapolation I see online is people taking strong moves like that, not just hers, but other strong moves, and saying, well, the whole game is dog shit. And to those people that take that viewpoint, I go, yeah, you're just laser focusing on the one move. But if you look at it, all these characters have strong tools. Now, again, man, I'm looking to be balanced here because I know some moves need some tuning, right? So I'm not saying those moves don't need tuning. I'm just saying as a holistic view, like Tekken 8 is not the dumpster fire that some people act online. Maybe you don't act that way.
You have seen my videos. You know I don't act that way.
Okay.
You know I don't.
Right. So, and that's where my frustration as a player and a community builder in the past came from, was going, look, you may not be adding to it, but so much of the online Twitter discourse was so negative that we lost 3,000 players on stream. And at that point, I thought, oh no, our community leaders, big talkers in our community, they'll talk and give some balance here. But that didn't happen. Just even more dooming.
But shouldn't you point the fingers at the developers for this and not the people who say this is bad and who maybe voice their frustration a bit extreme? Shouldn't you be pointing your fingers at the developers and saying, why did you do this? Why did you make us lose players?
Great question, and this is exactly where I was hoping like the debate would go, like more this way, because I think we're discovering new ground and talking about important things. So with that, it's a two-way street, okay? And the reason it's a two-way street is because you're right, the developers do have some culpability. As I said on the last podcast with Mike Hollow, I said, yeah, they probably need to figure out how to word things better, how to communicate better. Maybe that Discord server that they were talking about is the right way to go, because Twitter, I don't think is it. You get such hyperbolic takes. You get, some people want to take away Brian's taunt. Some legacy players go, no, it's fair because it's like, it's a mess. And I go, getting your ideas where to nerf and things like that off Twitter might not be the best thing. So yeah, I think the developers do have some culpability there. But
guys, one question. But everyone needs to participate now. Do you want me to, after this, play Tekken? Or do you want me to play a horror game? Because I might buy a horror game now for $6. And yeah, I need to know if you even want it or not. So Tekken 1, horror. What's the difference? That horror is fun, the other one is not. Horror. Okay, horror is winning, it looks like.
I think players too, when the developers have responded with like, hey, heat has been nerfed, hey, sidesteps have been increased, hey, these new moves have been tuned additionally, that
Wait, what was
players need to give some charity there and recognize that and say, yeah, okay,
I bought the game.
Things are happening, instead of the continuation of this doomer talk. Because I feel about 80% of S2's been, they've done things to it. There's still 80%. Some things to be done.
Now
that's
we go there again.
Do you want to see the trailer?
But this is the problem. Jason, this is the core problem.
Let me finish. We go back and forth with what you feel. Maybe you feel it's like 10%'s been addressed. I feel it's 80, whatever. But my point I'm getting to is I think the problem has set them up for in the future.
Let's watch the trailer together real quick, because they say this is the best part yet. They made 4 parts, and apparently this is the best one. And it's very new. It's short also. It's like a short horror game, but in your face. Yeah, that's about it. Looks interesting.
That no matter what they do, it's just going to be detractors. They're like, it's not enough. You guys are doing. I'm like, whoa, guys, like it's a two-way street. We got to recognize.
Hasboy wanted to play you yesterday and started mocking you, and Barda and Vegeta Mentality were laughing and joining. Hasboy started saying he loves Jews and Israel and mocking your accent. Okay.
Some of the things they've done. Like there's balance here. I'm looking for a balanced take.
And, I wanted to go there because I don't think it's balanced to go like you do on Twitter and be like, bro, everything is fine. Only 1% was a problem.
I don't say that. Again, you're misrepresenting me.
Wait,
I've never said
we showed your tweet on screen, literally your words. I don't know how you can now... Is it really?
I've always said the game needs tuning, and you can pick one tweet out of like literally the hundreds that I say the game needs tuning. I mean, a good way to ignore like the vast majority of the evidence where I always say the game needs tuning, where I always say needs balance. Finn, that's why I say you're a piece of work, bro, because you do things like this. You pick one little thing, you pick at it instead of